Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Hi, sweet Carmel Smile. How are you doing? Welcome to today's Conversations with God. Thank you, everyone who's committed to reading this book with me. So I think I'm just going to jump right in today. Usually I have a lot to talk about, but I don't. I have nothing to talk about, nothing to complain about. Nothing exciting happened. By the way, these are all good things. Sometimes when there is nothing going on, sometimes you have to appreciate the quietude in the nothingness, if that makes any sense. So I'm really happy to have a quiet period in my existence of life, right? Oh, I am a little tired though, and I did forget to take my morning glory, which is liquid vitamins. I really feel like I should be taking it today. I don't take my vitamins every day because I found when I take it every day, I don't sleep at night. So now I take a teaspoon every 2 to 3 days. But I am working tonight, so I do want to make sure I've got a little energy. And that vitamin, Mrs. Ruth Liquid, I don't know what it's called, Liquid Morning, Liquid Glory, does give you a boost of energy because it's got a really good shot of B6 and B12 in it. So I feel better that I've taken my liquid vitamins today. Hi, SCS, and good morning. I love your flowers and your sun, so pretty. Oh, good morning, busybody. Good morning, Miss Tracy. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So for you guys, we are on page 50. I actually don't remember what we talked about last week. When I begin again, I just begin again. And if something about last week revs up in this feed, then I can pull the two conversations together. Let's see if I may not have power here. Darn it. Oh, good. I got a couple of hours of power on my fan. Been talking to myself, guys. Alrighty now. Let's get this party started. I am on page 51. Oh, wait. I'm actually on page 50. Oh, wow. Now I do remember the conversation. Okay. I'm on page 50. I'm in the middle of the page where it says, you can similarly end all war tomorrow. I think that's where I am. That's where I highlighted. Okay. Are you guys ready? Page 50. This is God talking. You can choose. You can similarly end all war tomorrow, simply, easily. All it takes, all it has ever taken is for all of you to agree. Yet if you cannot agree on something as basically simple as ending the killing of each other, how can you call upon the heavens with shaking fists to put your order in life? How many of us have done that, right? How many of us can't see that sometimes we're not operating well? We're not operating healthy. Actually, the joke is most people can't see that. So that's really the joke. And we ask God to be there for us anyways, even though we are not operating well. Most people can't see that they're not operating well. Do you know that? Do you know that you can see in others how bad they're doing, but the person that's doing bad can't see it for themselves? And when I say bad, I'm not talking like a crime, right? A crime is something you feel. So I promise you, when someone commits a crime, they feel something: anger, delight, justified. There's a feeling when you commit a crime. I'm not talking about a heavy crime. I'm talking about the everyday stuff when you talk about someone and try to ruin their reputation, when you know that you could be sticking up for someone, but you don't, because just the way someone is being retaliated against, you know that the masses, that same person, the masses, more than one person, can do it to you. But in the same token, when it happens to you and not under the same breath, right? Most people don't get their karma back, it for the most part, in the same way that they've received it. Of course, there's always like cheating. How you lose them is how you get them. How you get them is how you lose them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about everyday indifference to somebody else's care. And yet, when it's time for somebody to care about you, you can't see that you were indifferent to somebody else's care, right? Case in point, when you have someone you need to talk to and you're like, hey, can we talk? And the person will agree to like talk, right? But doesn't listen to you, right? Talks over you. Like they agreed to talk, but are they there for you when you're like, I need somebody to talk to? And all you get is, well, I hear what you're going through, sis, because I went through this, because I had this problem. And because this happens to me a lot. And before you know it, you're not telling your story. You're the one sitting back and listening. You never got your story out. This happens to me a lot. People do this to me a lot. I've just learned to accept it, or I'm waiting to find that person that will just fucking listen. Just listen. I'm creating a program with my the owner of my hotel, and one of the things that I put in it is like listening is a gift. Try not to incorporate your own opinion. When people have something they need to say, listen. You want to do somebody a favor? Let someone talk. You don't have to add shit. I promise you. Let people talk. Because if you let people just talk, you might find out why they're so miserable. You might find out why they're crying. You might find out something very personal and private, and they're trying to tell you, but you're not listening. But what if this is your one shot to hear somebody? And notice what I said. I said, what if this is your one shot to hear somebody? I didn't say, what if this is that person's one shot to be heard? Because when all is said and done, you're going to want the same in return. And I promise you, you're going to say, nobody wants to listen to me. When it's not reciprocated, the energy doesn't know where to go. So it falls flat. But spirit knows you're going to need the same in return. So sucks to be you that you couldn't give anybody a listening ear. So in today's session, right off the bat, if you can ever do anything kind to someone, listen. Listen. And the best way to practice how to listen is with children. If you practice how to listen to children, because children say crazy things, right? And they're not saying anything profound. And I'm not telling you to like listen to a 5-year-old because they've got something profound to say. No, it's a practice of listening to a child that talks gibberish, but they will maturate in their language skills. And so if you practice listening to a child, if you have a child around, not everybody has a child around, but if you do, listen, ask questions. Say to the child, how's your day going? How's your Saturday morning? And help them to communicate with you. And this gives you an opportunity to what? Listen. So that one day when you get to work and somebody says, can we talk? You will listen. Because what happens as one example, what happens is that if you don't practice what's required out there in the world, and I chose listening as the one thing to point out, one day you're going to need somebody to listen to you, and you won't be heard. And you don't want that, because I know that's not what any of us wants. If anything, we always want to be heard. And you'll always hear people say, listen to me. Listen to me. So practice listening and see where that could take you as one example of changing yourselves. If you change yourselves, spirit will change everything about you. And the misery that others feel, you won't feel. And you're going to be surprised. You're going to be like, oh, um, God, I feel good today. Right? You'll see. You all will see. Actually, away from my desk. I'm going to go back to my desk right now. So, you can simply end all war tomorrow. Simply, easily. All it takes, all it has ever taken is for all of you to agree. Yet, if you cannot agree on something as basically simple as ending the killing of each other, how can you call upon the heavens with shaking fists to put your life in order? I will do nothing for you that you will not do for yourself. This is the law and the prophets. The world is in the condition it is in because of you and the choices you have made or have failed to make. Not to decide is to decide. The earth is in its shape. The earth is in the shape it's in because of you and the choices you have made. Your own life is the way it is because of you and the choices you have made or failed to make. Well, that's hard to swallow. I mean, even as I'm like this, I was like, ugh, choices, bad choices. I get it, God, I get it. Let me read that one more time because I want everyone to understand in no way will I ever be chastising you. When I read this, I am also reading it for myself. So just know that we are all sharing in the same energies, right? Let's read that over again. You can simply end a war tomorrow, simply, easily. All it takes, all it's ever taken is for all of you to agree. Yet if you cannot all agree on something as basically simple as ending the killing of each other, how can you call upon the heavens, shaking your fist to put your life in order? I will do nothing for you that you will not do for yourself. This is the law and the prophets. The world is in the condition it is in because of you. The choices you have made or failed to make. Not to decide is to decide. The earth is in the shape it's in because of you and the choices you have made or failed to make. Your own life is the way it is because of you and the choices you have made or failed to make. I just do want to point out, even at that part where it's like, it almost feels like, well, you made your bed, now lie in it. Everything can get auto corrected. You just have to choose differently. Nothing in your life is stoic. Nothing stays the same. It might be uncomfortable to fix thyself. Say it. Just don't think that anything is the end all because nothing ever is. Opportunities to change will always show up. All you have to do is remember that. You will always be given an opportunity to change and autocorrect all of your mistakes. All of them. So don't let embarrassment, anger, selfishness, worried about what that selfishness, but worry about just yourself and your feelings. Don't let that stop you. It's so interesting how anger can encompass your whole sense of being and how comfortable we get with anger, how we savor anger, how we hold on to anger. Anger, for many folks, is their best friend. For many folks. And how it's more important to understand that anger can ruin your spirit, ruin your mental health, ruin your health, your heart health, right? Because anger doesn't care about your heart, does he? If you let anger in and stay in, anger is just going to enjoy the home that you gave it. And anger is going to insist that you keep it alive. So what will the spirit, remember, everything's spirit, right? What will the spirit of anger do? The spirit of anger is going to make sure that everything around you conjures up anger. It won't let you rest. It will constantly remind you that you're supposed to be mad. And if you begin to want to change, anger is going to show up in other ways. Why? Because anger is a spirit. Anger is, I hate to call it out, but it really is the devil. The devil doesn't want you to win. The devil doesn't want you to be happy. I bet some of us here doesn't even know that feeling of happiness. Have you all forgotten what happiness felt like? Like seriously, to wake up in the morning and to say, I feel happy today. Have you guys understood what that feels like? Where every cell in your body resonates with being happy. Sometimes we have to fight anger within us. Sometimes we have to fight the demon within us. Sometimes we have to fight the demon within us so much because when you're asking demon, evil, to get away, you invited demon in. And it's comfortable in your heart. So no, demon's not getting out so quickly. Don't you go ahead and try it. Go ahead and try to kick demon out after you invited it in. Demon's going to be like, no, we're going to stay here and we're going to continue to enjoy anger. And in case you forgot, I'm going to show you anger at work, with your mama, with your children, my favorite is with your neighbors. That's my favorite. Am I getting through? Am I rambling on? Let me know if I'm rambling on. Good morning, Black Coffee. Good morning, Sweet Brown Sugar. Good morning, Benny's Diaries. Good morning. Would you be doing a reading? Oh, send me something, Benny. Send me a link or something. I actually just don't know the story. So send me a link or something so I can figure out what it is I need to do a reading on. Your own life is the way it is because of you and the choices you have made or the choices you have failed to make. A little harsh today. I apologize. I did not write this book. This is God talking. A little harsh today, but I don't know. If I need to hear it, I'm going to accept that this is something I need to hear today. And I'm going to figure out why that is so important to God. Moving on. But I did not choose to get hit by the truck, says Neil. I did not choose to get mugged by the robber or raped by the maniac. People could say that. There are people in the world who could say that. And then Spirit, I remember this part, and I wasn't too sure I liked this part, but I'll try and get through it. You are all at root cause for the conditions which exist, which create in the robber the desire or the perceived need to steal. You have all created the consciousness which makes rape possible. It is when you see in yourself that which caused the crime that you begin at last to heal the condition from which it sprang. I get it. Let's say it's being robbed. I can't go sexual assault today. Let's say it's being robbed and let's say it's school shooting because that's what we're going through right now, at least in America. And you're right. You're not the fault at school shooting and where 10 kids have to be deleted. You're right. What this part of the book is saying is that we as a society raised and caused an individual to think that that is okay, that becomes our fault, that is the responsibility of all. And you could see that as being true because since Columbine, since the school shooting, we won't stop gun laws. We also don't have programs in schools for mental health. And so gun shootings, mall shootings are so bad in the U.S. that other countries are issuing warnings and telling advisory warnings that, going to America is like going at your own risk because they have so many shootings. So sad now. That other countries are telling their people, taking care of their people enough to say there's a problem over there. So going there may not be within your best interest. However, we don't say to our own people and our own kids, stop shooting, stop buying guns. Uh, yeah, was it AK-45s? Oh my God, I might have the gun wrong. Do you know what I mean? So I get that part, not the part of you being hurt, the part that we don't work to make sure that crimes are not committed. There are countries that work on um, their residents' mental health, and they don't have the crime that we have. True story. True story. Because they're constantly identifying with their citizens and helping to encourage kindness, right? You understand that, right? Um, so when it says this part, which I don't think I understood well last week, you are you are all at the root causes for the conditions which exist, which create in the robber the desire or the perceived need to steal. You have all created the consciousness which makes rape possible. It is when you see in yourself that which caused the crime that you begin at last to heal the condition from which it sprang. Do you need to be robbed in order to heal something? Do you need to be disrespected in order to heal something? I mean, we could say this about the gays all day, right? Do you need to have a gay child to understand the gay community? Because I know a lot of people that didn't get it until they had a gay child, you know? Feed your hungry. Give dignity to the poor. Grant opportunity to the less fortunate. And the prejudice which keep the masses huddled and angry with little promise of a better tomorrow. Put away your pointless taboos and restrictions upon sexual energy. Rather, help others to truly understand its wonder and to channel it properly. Do these things, and you will go a long way toward ending robbery and rape forever. Wow. Wow. Do you guys believe that? Or is that, like, is the concept so big that it's like, how can one person do this? I don't think one person can do this, but I think one person can speak up. You know what? Try something on IG. I do this all the time. So on IG, I'll look at the comments everybody's making, right? Hi, Steven. I'll look at the comments everybody's making on IG. And on purpose, I will say just the opposite. Case in point, Jackie O, right? Everybody was making comments about DC. Oh, he's amazing. He's really grieving. What an amazing guy he is, right? And I didn't see it the way everybody else saw it. So I made a comment. And I said, he didn't marry her. Some people didn't like that. And I respect that they didn't like it. And some people said something. They were like, not the time. And I agreed with them. I said, you're right. Then I thought I deleted the comment, but the comment wouldn't get deleted. That was weird, right? And then I sat back for a couple of days and it was not sitting well with me. And I said, no, I really meant that comment. So why should I take it back? Something's not right. So then I put out a video and kind of asked a different question, maybe not making such a blanket statement, but I asked a different question. And then you see everybody putting out videos similar to what I was asking. And then you see the comments where people are like, Tracy, it bothered me too. So I say that to say because one person can, one, change the masses. Two, one person can change everything. I'm not asking you to go rogue and allow yourself to be victimized by society, because I know how society can ruin people. That's not what I'm asking. But I'm saying, try it. Try to, listen, you can always delete it. Try to have a different opinion on IG when everybody else is going and saying the same thing. What I've noticed with people is that they go with the masses. So whoever says something first, that's what they're going with. But then I also notice that if you say just the opposite, you will find people saying the opposite with you. Is that good or bad? It's all good, right? Because sometimes we can't stay focused on the masses, because mass mentality is probably the craziest of things you will ever experience when the masses get together. All right? But try it. Try saying the opposite, and then you will see somebody will agree with you. Or you will see somebody say, I was thinking the same thing, I just didn't want to say it out loud. The next time I do something like that, I'll post it to show you guys how easy it can be to change someone's mind when the masses have decided that this is what they're going to talk about. This is what they're going to do. You know, like when you say the emperor has no clothes, it's kind of like saying, what the hell are you people doing? Right? So if you say, I don't agree with what everybody's doing, you're going to find that people are going to be like, I don't agree either. You're right, I don't agree. Remember, to do nothing is a decision. To decide not to decide is a decision. So do you participate in change? That's our job. Feed the hungry, give dignity to the poor, grant opportunity to the less fortunate, end the prejudice which keeps masses huddled and angry with little promise of tomorrow. Put away your pointless tattoos and restrictions upon sexual energy. Rather, help others to truly understand its wonder and to channel it properly. By the way, you know, what this book is saying here, people, is that sex is good and God created sex. Channel it properly rather than make everything so bad. Do these things and you will go a long way toward ending robbery and rape forever. Wow. Wow. As for the so-called accident, the truck coming around the bend, the brick falling from the sky, learn to greet each such incident as a small part of a larger mosaic. Hi, Dr. Colton. You have come here to work out individual plan for your own salvation. Your salvation does not mean saving yourself from the snares of the devil, although it should. But according to this book, that's not why you have salvation. There is no such thing as the devil, which we've talked about, right? In the past, I know I brought up demon today, but there's no such thing because you give demon a body, right? There's evil, and evil is fluid. There's no such thing as the devil, and hell does not exist. You are saving yourself from the oblivion of non-realization. You cannot lose in this battle. You cannot fail. This is not a battle at all, but simply a process. Yet, if you do not know this, you will see it as a constant struggle. You may even believe in a struggle long enough to create a whole religion around it. This religion will teach you that struggle is the point of it all. All right, side note, who belongs to a church that lets you believe, at least your mama and your grandmamas, I don't know if modern day people actually believe this anymore, that they're getting through a struggle in life, which is, by the way, so stupid. But there are religions out there that teach you that your whole purpose in life is to go against the struggle. In life. My favorite, that is still hard for people to overcome phrases, is when people say, and I'm like, how are you doing today? And they're like, struggling. Someone said this to me yesterday, struggling. But, I woke up today, so, I'll take that on, I'll take the struggle on. I woke up today. I constantly have to tell people, your body's meant to wake up. Your body's not meant to die in the middle of the night. That's not the way God designed your body. Stop saying, God woke me up today. God designed your body to wake up every day. When you get up, you can thank the Lord for what you see with your eyes, what you breathe with your nose, right? What you hear with your ears. You could thank God for that. Not thank God for the very thing that was meant to operate well. Unless there's a real medical condition, and then you're like, okay, I got another day, right? But even something like cancer they don't put death on cancer. What do they put on cancer? They put hope on cancer. They don't invest in death language when it comes to cancer. So, your body's meant to wake up every day. Stop saying, I'm alive, and just wake up and begin to live. Now, if you want to thank the birds for chirping, can you listen to the birds and start thanking the birds? Can you thank the sun? Hell, thank the clouds. Thank rain. Although I think rain is a problem for some folks, but we're not getting enough rain. So when I get rain, I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. We need it so bad. You understand the difference? Wake up with a prayer. That helps to change your kundalini. But just waking up and go, thank you, God. You really understood me last night, and you let me wake up today. No, that's not what God did. God made a whole body for you to wake up. It's designed to click that way. All right. You cannot lose this battle. You cannot fail. This is not a battle at all, but simply a process. Yet, if you do not know this, you will see it as a constant struggle. You may believe in the struggle long enough to create a whole religion around it. This religion will teach that struggle is the point of it all. This is a false teaching. It is not struggle that the process proceeds. It is in surrendering that the victory is won. Got lost there. Accidents happen because they do. Certain elements of the life process have come together in a particular way at a particular time with a particular result. Results which you choose to call unfortunate for your own reasons. Yet they may not be unfortunate at all given the agenda of your soul. So, What I usually tell people, God bless anyone. What I'm about to say, bless you. I tell people, car accidents in particular are life changing. God willing, you don't have the type of car accident that's debilitating. Usually, car accidents are you're going the wrong way in life. Stop. So, when you have a car accident, you have to consider that there's a bigger message going on there. All right. I remember having a car accident, and the car accident saved my job. I wound up on disability for 3 or 4 months. I can't remember. I was about to be fired. The accident saved my job. I was able to go back to work and stay there until they were ready to fire me 2 years later. But it still saved my job. Okay. Accidents happen because they do. Certain elements of your life process have come together in a particular way at a particular time with particular results. Results which you choose to call unfortunate for your own particular reasons, yet they may not be unfortunate at all, given the agenda of your own soul. I tell you this, there is no coincidences. Nothing happens by accident. We've heard that, right? Each event and adventure is called to yourself, by yourself, in order that you may create and experience who you really are. A true master knows this. So when you wind up in an accident, it could shake you up. That's reasonable. But when you begin to assess why the accident occurred, what is it about you that this accident was required? Why did your soul's agenda remember to be at the right time, to be at this accident? Not your brain, your soul remembered. And in that, where do we have to reassess and readjust where we are going wrong? Do you know how many people have had accidents and then later on they're like, actually, Tracy, it changed my life. Right. Changed my life for the better. Right. I mean, I did get divorced. Okay. But even that wasn't so bad because I didn't like him anyway. Right. There's no coincidence and nothing happens by accident. Each event and adventure is called to yourself by yourself. Each event and adventure is called to you by you in order that you might create and experience who you really are. All true masters know this. That is why mystic masters remain unperturbed in the face of the worst experience of life, as you would define that, right? I remember years ago, I was in my 20s. I didn't even know I was like a psychic or anything back then. And I was going to work every day, but I go to work every day happy. It's just in my disposition to be happy. And one of the girls didn't like me for whatever damn reason. She didn't like me. And I guess I made a mistake or something. And she was complaining, and someone was like, well, actually, she's going through a divorce. So maybe that's why things are happening. And she comes up to me and she goes, like, with all the sadness she could muster. And she goes, I didn't know you were going through a divorce. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I'm so sad for you. And I was like, oh, no, don't be sad for me. I'm good. I'm okay. And she couldn't like accept that for me. And then I said, no, divorce can be good. I'm okay. I'm glad to be getting a divorce. It's fine. And she goes, and you just come to work all happy. And you're going through. She couldn't get over that I was getting a divorce. It was really funny. And she goes, you come to work so so happy. And you would never know. And I was like, well, that's because it's okay that I'm getting a divorce. The happiness comes from the divorce. I was in my 20s, no, 30s. I think it was in my 30s. Who knows? That's how much I don't remember that former lifestyle of mine. My point to you is, this is why mystic masters remain unperturbed in the face of the worst experiences. Unperturbed. I cannot spend my whole life worried whether or not you like me. It will never happen. I cannot spend my whole life, telling a story about a divorce that just wasn't meant to be anymore. Right? It doesn't get to define me. And so you just get to the point of moving on. Okay. I'm divorced. Although it did take us 7 years to get divorced. That was weird. That was so weird. In any case, that divorce should have been handled in 18 months. 7 years. All right. The great teachers of your Christian religion understand this. They know that Jesus was not perturbed by the crucifixion. Jesus expected it. He could have walked away. Think about this is a really good point. Now we're at a really great point. How many times, this is a really good point. How many times did Jesus leave his disciples? Didn't he leave them once for like 40 days? And he told them not to go to sleep. I don't know how Jesus expected that. Wasn't it like 40 days? It wasn't 10 days, right? And then he came back and all his disciples were sleeping. He's like, get up, you assholes. Damn you. I told you to stay awake. Although I don't really understand that part of the Bible. Like, your body's meant to sleep, Jesus. What are they supposed to do? So there's a message in there, but I always miss that message, right? Especially considering how much I love sleep. I don't think I would have been a great disciple. I would have been a great Mary Magdalene, though. Great Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene wound up being his wife. But we're not going to get into that. I'm not trying to convince you of that because, child, talk about people's religions and really busting that wide open. Let's stay focused, Tracy. Jesus knew he was going to get crucified. What part? He knew it, everyone. Remember? He was at the Last Supper and he was like, y'all are going to deny me. And he was so calm about it. No, brother, no, I would never deny you. And he was like, oh my God, just wait. Because he already knew. God had already given him the vision of dying. Right? He knew Jesus was a mystic. Jesus was a seer. Jesus was a psychic. Okay, I know I'm inviting things that maybe some of you have never heard before, but realistically, Jesus was a healer. He was a medium. He foretold. He was a psychic. He was a seer. He was a prophetess. My God, people. You want to put me down for being a psychic? Jesus was a psychic. Okay. Anger. Control your anger, Tracy. Control your anger. Okay. Don't you think Jesus could have just walked away, wound up in Turkey somewhere? He could have walked away to Egypt. Jesus could have just disappeared because he knew his fatal outcome. They know that Jesus was not perturbed by the crucifixion. He expected it. He could have walked away, but he did not. He could have stopped the process at any point. He had the power to stop the process, yet he did not. He allowed himself to be crucified in order that he might stand as man's eternal salvation. Look, he said, at what I can do. Look at what is true, and know that these things and more shall you also do. For I have not said you are gods, yet you do not believe. You cannot then believe in yourself. Believe in me. I think what God is trying, wait, I think what's, my body, my knees hurt, is that how can you believe in Jesus and not know that you have Jesus' capabilities inside of you? You know, I got to tell you, when we all die, I think we're all in for a shock. I think we're all going to go on the other side and be like, what the hell? Which is why I think we keep visiting back here. And I think we keep visiting back here because we keep missing the point of life. So when we miss the point of life, we want to go back and we want to correct everything we've done wrong. I am not coming back. I'm done. I don't care what I've done wrong. Well, Tracy, you missed this at 25. Well, it's going to get missed, God, because I'm not going back. I'm going to be like that movie, that little soul in the movie Soul, where she's like, I refuse to. That's going to be me. I admire that character. Meanwhile, everybody else is happily jumping down into somebody's belly, and the one girl goes, nope, to the point where she became evil. That was really funny. All right, I digress. Have you guys seen Soul? Please tell me you've seen Soul. One of the best movies you could ever watch, and a true depiction of how little souls come down to this earth in cartoon form. All right. Let me see. And you know that these things and more you shall also do. For I have said, ye are gods, yet you don't believe. If you cannot then believe that you are a God and believe in yourself, how do you believe in Jesus? How do you believe in God himself? The I am in you is the God in you. But can you be the I am in you? Can you be the very God that you keep calling upon? Yes, you can. Because you are the I am. We all have I am. What is your name? Tell them I am. You are I am. Jesus is I am. Jesus was just sent here as an example. And then as an example that went completely wrong. Because everybody was so busy with rules and regulations, and how dare he think he's smarter than, us, right? We're just going to take him out because he's so smug. Was that fair? Jesus did nothing but show up and challenge those in the synagogue that their rules were inundatingly hurting the people, and God just wanted to stop the little damn rules. Case in point, throwing a rock at a prostitute for screwing a man, but most of the men were married. Hit your own penis. Why don't you? All right. Am I making sense today? I feel like I'm just a little wonky today. Sometimes when I'm a little wonky, it's when God gets in stronger. Like, go ahead, get wonky, Tracy, but I don't want to sound too crazy. Such was Jesus' compassion that he begged for a way and created it to so impact the world that all might come to heaven. self-realization, if in no other way than through him. He defeated misery and he defeated death. And so will you. The grandest teachings of Christ was not that you shall have everlasting life, but that you do. Not that you shall have brotherhood in God, but that you do. Not that you shall have whatever you request, but that you do. The only thing that is required is to know this. For you are the creator of your reality, and life can show up no other way for you than that way in which you think it will. You think it into being. This is the first step in creation, thought. God the Father is thought. Your thought is the parent which gives birth to all things. It's kind of deep, huh? Did you know that everything begins with a thought? Everything. There is nothing here that has been produced without the thought of it first. Nothing. God did not create us in any other way except to process thinking first. Thinking is a strong emotion. It can create and it can destroy. So, if we aren't thinking healthy every day, we create a reality of what? Misery. And we make misery a belief system. And that's not even talking about creating inventions, right? There's not an invention that is made that wasn't thought of first. Did you know that? So, what if we practice a week's worth of thinking positively? I'm going to win this. I'm going to have people on my side. I'm going to have people be nice to me, talk nice to me, being nice to me. I'm going to find love, not just any love. I'm going to find love that my soul needs. I'm going to have money. I'm going to go on a job interview and I'm going to get that job. Doesn't mean you get to have the job. It just means you have to change your attitude to get the job that belongs to you. The match has to be there. So if you're going with a positive attitude that you're going to get this job and you don't go back to negative thinking. You continuously move forward and understanding that job was not meant for you. It is meant for somebody else, but you will get the next job. And then you don't get that job. And you still don't stop. You move forward. When my son used to be an actor, that was the rule of thumb, right? Go on your interview and you be the best thing. You whip out that audition like you have never auditioned before. You whip it out like your life matters. And if you get it, you get it. And if you don't get it, did you do your best? Because that's all that was required. It is not required that you get the job. It is required that you just do your best. And if it's meant for you, no one else can have it. The same job will come back to get you. Case in point with my car. This car was supposed to, never really was supposed to, go to this girl, Trudy. And I remember feeling like, why are you telling me about a car that doesn't belong to me? In my mind, that's what I was thinking. Why are you telling me about a car I could never have? And guess how much it is? And I was like, it must be 1,000. And it's like, no, 750. I was like, 750, God. And you did not allow me to know about this car? 750? Why does Julie get to have my car? So I sat back, as the person was telling me, I sat back and I said, you know what? If it's meant to be mine, it'll be mine, right? Do you know that car wound up being mine? I'm not even sure I believed what I was saying, but I also know that when I say it, I had given up, right? So I said it in a way where I had already decided that it wasn't mine, that it must have been Trudy's, right? Do you know that car turned around and came and got me? Trudy said, it's a lot of headache. And she's right. She's right. My first bill, my brake light broke, and it cost me $644 to fix the brake light. That's fucking crazy. Cost me as much as the damn car, child. But, I went to Capital One and I said, I need help. And they gave me extra credit because I've never asked for credit in all the years I've never asked for credit. Wells Fargo just gave me credit 3 years ago. No, wait. Yeah, I think 3 years ago, Wells Fargo just gave me credit. I never asked for credit. And so I called Capital One and I was like, I'm in a crisis. I'm in a territory. I need help. And thank God for good credit repair that I have been working on since the pandemic, right? The pandemic was here. I was like, God, what do you want me to do? All these talk was coming out, all the talk shows, all the news, they were like, just use your credit. Don't use cash. Use your credit. And what they were saying at the time is that if there's going to be a banking issue, they could take away your credit card. So use your credit. Do not use your cash. Keep your cash, because we were in an emergent crisis that was still growing. So what I heard during the pandemic was fix your credit. So I stopped using my cash and I would use my credit and then pay off the whole amount. Excuse me, which is something I would have done had I used my cash. And I've been doing that for like 3 years. And so when it came down to needing help, I immediately got the help because I had been working on my credit. And I got to tell you, my credit score is really good. And I got to tell you, I don't give a fuck about my credit score. I'm never buying a house. I don't care about my credit score. I'm never taking out a major loan. I'm never taking out a house. My credit could have been 450 and I would not have cared. As it turns out, because I've been taking care of my credit for the past 3 years, I got a good credit number. What the fuck? I'm not going to use it anyways. By the way, can somebody let me know why I should have a good credit? I know it's for buying a home. So I get that. I think. I know it's for taking out a loan. I get that. Is it? What's the purpose of credit score? Doesn't matter. I digress. when I wanted the car was always meant for me, by the way, Trudy. Don't get it twisted. I resigned to the fact that if it was meant for me, I will have it. All right? The great teachers of your Christian religion understand and know that Jesus was not perturbed by the crucifixion. He expected it. He could have walked away. He didn't. He could have stopped the process at any point because he had the power. He didn't. He allowed himself to be crucified in order that we might stand as man's eternal salvation. Look, he said, at what I can do. Look at what is true. And know that these things and more shall you also do. For I have said, you are God. Yet you don't believe me. If you cannot then believe in yourself, how can you believe in me? Such was Jesus' compassion that he begged for a way and created it. To do so impact the world that all might come to heaven. If in no other way than through him, he defeated misery and death, and so might you. The greatest teaching of Christ was not that you shall have everlasting life, but that you do. Not that you shall have brotherhood in God, but that you do. Not that you shall have whatever you request, but that you do. All that is required is to know this, for you are the creator of your reality. And life can show up no other way for you than that way in which you think it will. You think it into being. This is the first step in creation. God the Father is the thought. Your thought is the parent which gives birth to all things. This is one of the laws we are to remember. Yes. Can you tell me more? Says Neil. I have told you others, have told you them all since the beginning of time. Over and over have I told you them. Teacher after teacher have I sent to you. You do not listen to my teachers. You kill them. But why? Why do we kill the holiest among us? We kill them or dishonor them, which is the same thing. Why? Because they stand against every thought you have that would deny me. And deny me you must if you are to deny yourself. Why would I want to deny you? Neil says, or me. And God responds, because you're afraid. And because my promises are too good to be true. Because you cannot accept the grandest truth. And so you must reduce yourself to a spirituality which teaches you fear and dependence and intolerance rather than power, love, and acceptance. You are filled with fear. And your biggest fear is that my biggest promise might be life's biggest lie. Damn. You know, I see this in women all the time. Side note, because I read women mostly. And I get women that I don't know where you guys get in your pods and believe this. you know, when it comes to love and you're like, oh, Tracy, I want love. And I'm like, well, go get it. It's like, but I'm afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid of being hurt. That's the least of your problems. What if love comes through and it's so good? Doesn't mean it has to stay. Love hurts when we don't release it back to the element it came from, right? I once loved a guy. Oh, at least I thought I loved him. And when it ended harshly, right? Because I had to see how miserable my partner was. And I had to see that his misery was compounding me. And it was mandated that he not hold on to me for 5 more years, right? And so I was forced to do something which hurt like hell because all I wanted was him to come out of his misery of a previous love that had passed on. But competing against that, you might as well be in hell. All the while, he would clearly say, nope, over it, nope, over it. He wasn't. And I had to come to that realization that I was being hurt because he was not moving on. I also had to come to the realization that just maybe I wasn't his type. That hurt too, right? To recognize I'm not a CEO or in a powerful position financially, right? That, and I was like, I can get that. So I gotta go. And I get women that tell me that they don't know how to love or find love again because they don't want to be hurt. What I did instead was completely hurt. But what I did instead was recognize why he came along. Much in the same way, you might have to recognize why you wound up in a car accident. So I had to look at him and I had to figure out, did he teach me anything? Did I learn something from his personality type? I liked him enough to keep him around. And so I decided to remember the parts of him that I liked. And then it was completely over. Never to be reinvested again because I realized that I got exactly what I was supposed to get from this person. The longevity was never meant to be. But the good times and some of the things that he said that empowered me, like those were beautiful things. And I don't have regret. Actually, I don't have regret with anybody that I dated or even married, right? No, I tend not to have regrets. Although, when I say dated, I mean someone I've been with for a long time. A date, 2 or 3 dates doesn't count. Like, I'm just assessing an asshole for an asshole and I'm getting out, period. The greatest teaching of Christ was not that you shall have everlasting life. You do. Not that you shall have, not that you shall have brotherhood in God. You do. Not that you should have whatever you request. You do. All that is required is for you to know this because you are the creator of your reality. Life can show up no other way for you than that way in which you think it will. You think it into being. It's the first step in creation. God the Father is the thought. Your thought is the parent which gives birth to all things. This is one of the laws we are to remember. Yes. Can you tell me others? I've told you others. I told them all since the beginning of time, over and over. I have told you them. Teacher after teacher I have sent to you. You don't listen to my teachers, you kill them. But why? Why do we kill the holiest amongst us? We kill them, we dishonor them, which is the same thing. Why? And God says, because they stand against every thought you would have that could deny me. And deny me you must if you are to deny yourself. Why would I want to deny you? Why would I want to deny me? Because you are afraid, says God, and because my promises are too good to be true. And so you reduce yourself to a spirituality, a religion, a cult, which teaches fear, dependence, intolerance, rather than love, power, acceptance. That's powerful right there. I want to be a part of something that teaches love, power. If that's what I want that in my life. I want not to care that you're gay. I want not to care that you're biracial. Love, power, and acceptance. That is powerful. I highlighted that. You are filled with fear, and your biggest fear is that my promise might be life's biggest lie. You ever meet up with somebody and you marry them, and then you realize the person that you marry and the person that you're dating is the most horrible person in the world? But when you first met them, you said, God, you heard me, God, and thank you, God. And then it turns out you married the devil. Are you also then mad at God? Because to be honest with you, the person that you're with showed you little signs of who they are, never hid them from you. So you're busy thanking God for the greatest gift you've ever gotten. Thank you, God. God, you heard me. I got love. Look at you, God. But there are times when he won't text you back. There are times when he doesn't show up and make promises. There are times when he called you out your face. God's not lying to you. You asked for love, and love showed up. It was then your job to make sure that the love showed up for you was good for you. God never lied to you. You are filled with fear, and your biggest fear is that my biggest promise might be life's biggest lie. And so you create the biggest fantasy you can to defend yourself against this. You claim that any promise which gives you the power and guarantees you the love of God must be the false promise of the devil. God would never make such a promise, you tell yourself. Only the devil will. To tempt you into denying God's true identity as the fearsome, judgmental, jealous, vengeful, punishing entity of all entities. Even through this description, better fits the definition of a devil, if there was one. You have assigned devilish characteristics to God in order to convince yourself not to accept the godlike promises of your Creator or the godlike qualities of yourself. Such is the power of fear. Do you guys get that? Do you guys get that? That we are actually taught God is a punishing God. Karma gonna get you, right? That we have assigned devilish characteristics to God in order to convince ourselves not to accept the godlike promises or the godlike qualities within ourselves. You claim that any promise which gives you the power and guarantees you the love of God must be the false promise of the devil. God would never make such a promise, you tell yourself. Only the devil would, to tempt you into denying God's true identity as the fearsome, judgmental, jealous, vengeful, and punishing entity of all entities. That's how we describe God in some religions. I remember growing up Catholic, and I was really confused between God and Jesus. I just didn't know who to believe in, and I had such guilt in not knowing the difference between the two, because I'm sorry, people, I don't know who's Catholic, I'm talking about my experience. They don't really teach you the difference between God and Jesus. They raise Jesus up higher than God. And even worse, in the Catholic Church, as you maturate through the years, they raise Mother Mary up to be higher than God and Jesus. And that is hilarious. Mother Mary would never want that. But the Catholic Church is such trickery that we revere her higher than Jesus, higher than God. Sometimes you don't even hear God in the same sentence as Mother Mary. So our whole religion is teaching us to not believe in God. And you're going to wonder why you guys have multiple lives? That's reason one. Not your fault. When you get up to heaven, you're going to be like, God, I did everything the church told me, everything. And God's like, yeah, but the church was telling you to do this craziest of things. Being like, but that wasn't my fault, God. I still did everything, but you did it wrong. Now, armed with this memory, go back down. Do it again. Fight. Fight for the system that's off. Be better at being a rebel against the very thing that brought you here and you thinking you were an amazing human being. You were not. So go back down and help to fix it. All right, I'm over it. This is the way I believe it. Heaven's going to be like, we're going to meet up with Jesus and he'll be like, oh, Tracy. Hi, Jesus. Hi, I'm so glad to meet you. Now, I already know I did everything right, Jesus. I did everything right. He's going to be like, oh my God, Tracy, sit down. Sit down. The gates are right there. I just need to walk through the holy gates. Ta-da! That's what I expect when I get there. She's here. She's here. She's here. God's going to be like, sit down. I'm like, oh my God, you got something to tell me? There were things I did wrong? Oh my God. You got to go back down, Tracy. Nope. Nope. Not happening. Hell no. Jesus. Not happening. Exactly. Only negative people judge everyone. I grew up Catholic too. I stopped going to church in my 20s. I pray at home. I understand all of that, Miss Capricorn. I'm trying to let go of my fear. Will you tell me again more of the laws? The first law is that you can be, do, have whatever you imagine. The second law is that you attract what you fear. Now, I saw this the other day on IG. I should have saved it. I don't know if I sent it over, but it said, you attract what you fear. So this woman pretended to fear money. It was so funny. IG posts are hilarious. It was so funny. And then it comes up here. The first law is that you can be, do, and have whatever you imagine. The second law is that you attract what you fear. Sometimes when we're in a bad relationship, we attracted that bad relationship. We also wanted a superficial relationship because that's what you get in the beginning. But you attract the very thing that you're like, I cannot. Because if you didn't attract the very thing that you cannot do, that person cannot get in. You would nip it, right? I once dated someone here, and he yelled too much. And one day I got in his car, and he went to yell, and I bent over, and my whole back, top, upper back, thank God it didn't attach to my neck, tightened up and felt so bad. And when I was bending over. When I got back up in the chair, the car seat, I knew right then and there. I was like, I have to be careful with him. He's dangerous. He doesn't know it, but he's dangerous. Anybody that just yells and screams without consideration of anyone that they're sitting next to is selfish, inconsiderate, unkind. And I have to know that. I have to know it is not worth it. So I had to stop hanging out with this person. And then I even put him to the test. And I was like, I waited a few weeks, went away on vacation, came back, had a problem with my car. He was able to help me with my car. And then he knew I was getting my car fixed for about a week. I kept going back and forth. And one day I said to him, you never check on me. Like, you know my car is messed up. And you're right, I might need help. But you never check on me. And I forgot what he said. But he didn't say anything that made sense. And you know he's not contacted me since? Not since. So, with that being said, it's okay to assess a situation and know that someone doesn't care or that you are not in a safe place with someone. It's okay to know that. And it's okay to move on from that. Let me see if I can find it. The text message, I mean. Let me see something. Maybe I put his name in my phone. I think I didn't have his name in my phone forever. Oh, yeah, I did put his name in. So, I said, why you never check on me? He goes, what do you mean? I said, you don't say hello. You don't see how I'm doing with my car. I know you may think I need something from you. Maybe I may, but dang, at least ask how I'm getting around with my junker man, my car. And he goes, well, sorry. How's the car holding up? And I'm like, it's good. And then I explained some things about what I had to do with the car. And he goes, okay. And that was June 8th. It's now June 17th. And I'm not mad at oh boy. I need to know who oh boy is. So it is good when somebody doesn't respond to you. That's amazing. I'd rather know who you are so I can move it on, because what I'm looking for is a nice guy. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Um, we all incarnate to learn lessons from others, be more proficient in our skills and talents. Yes. And then she goes, actions speak louder than words. Sure do. Sure do. The second law is that you attract what you fear. Be careful of that, right? What is that? With a question mark, says Neil. Emotions is the power which attracts. That which you fear strongly, you will experience. An animal which you consider a lower form of life, even though animals act with more integrity and greater consistency than humans, knows immediately if you are afraid of it. Plants, which you consider an even lower form of life, respond to people who love them far better than those who couldn't care less. None of this is by coincidence. There's no coincidence in the universe, only a grand design, only an incredible snowflake. Emotion is energy in motion. When you move, energy, you create effect. If you move enough energy, you create matter. Matter is energy conglomerated, moved around, shoved together. If you manipulate energy long enough in a certain way, you get matter. Every matter understands this law. It is the alchemy of the universe. It is the secret of all life. Thought is pure energy. Every thought you have ever had, and will have is creative. The energy of your thought never, ever dies, ever. It leaves your being and heads out into the universe, extending forever. A thought is forever. So let's read that over again. Emotion is the power which attracts. That which you fear strongly, you will experience. An animal, which you consider a lower form of life, even though animals act with more integrity and greater consistency than humans, knows exactly if you are afraid of it. Plants, which you consider an even lower form of life, responds to people who love them far better than those who couldn't care less. None of this is by coincidence. There's no coincidence in the universe, only a grand design, only an incredible snowflake. Emotion is energy in motion. When you move energy, you create effect. If you move enough energy, you create matter. Matter is energy conglomerated, moved around, shoved together. If you manipulate energy long enough in a certain way, you get matter. Every master understands this law. It is the alchemy of the universe. It is the secret of all life. Thought is pure energy. Every thought you have ever had, and ever will have, is creative. The energy of your thought never ever dies, ever. It leaves your being and heads out into the universe, extending forever. A thought is forever. So let's stay with bad thoughts. If you're having a bad thought about yourself, you are pushing that out in the world so that other people can understand that you are pushing out a bad thought of yourself, and you will meet up with people that will have bad thoughts about you because that is what you pushed out. You think it needs to be said. No, it's energy. You ever have somebody that pushes out a good thought about themselves? What's the first thing you all say? She's very, very arrogant. Ugh. She's not arrogant. She is stating a fact that you all missed. That in order to be loved, you have to love you, every part of you, every overweight, every side bubble, every perfection, every flaw. You have to push out the very thing that you believe is the greatest part of you. This person is not being arrogant. I once told the guy, he stopped talking to me after this. It's really funny. And he goes, I like to tell people my age in the Caribbean. They know I don't look it. So I actually enjoy telling people. So he goes, blah, blah, blah. How old are you? And I go, 60. And he says, you look good for 60. Well, that's a measurement. That's comparison. You are not allowed to say that, right? Because who are you comparing me against? What woman are you comparing? Because every woman I meet in my age bracket don't look like me. I'm sorry. Every woman that I meet in my age bracket look like me. Nobody's walking around with frumpy pajamas during the day with our titties down to our knees. It's not happening. We are fabulous at 60, right? So when you say you look good for 60, that's not a compliment to me, right? So I say, thank you. And then I add, I know. Thank you. I know. I say it just like that. Some people get insulted by the I know part. I don't want you to get insulted by the I know part. I know I look good for my age. I worked on looking good for my age. I know. I don't say it like that. I go, I know. Thank you. Aw, I know. He said he was so mad. He goes, you know. And right away, I knew what I was up against. And so I looked at him with that evil eye. I looked at him and I said, yeah, I know. And then he starts to make fun of me, right? There was another guy there. One thing about guys, you all will stick together like a bunch of rats. And he's like, oh, she knows, she knows. And the guy started laughing, but it was an uncomfortable laugh, right? He was not trying to laugh with me. It was uncomfortable, but it was also male bonding, so he wasn't going to go against the man. And so I looked at both of them and I said, here's the difference. I do know who I am. I do know that I look good. I appreciate the compliment, but you need to know that I already knew this. Don't get upset with me because I know. Because what I'm putting back out in the universe is you don't get to break my soul ever. Beyonce just created that song. I've been operating this way. You don't get to break my soul. I'm good because I know the character that I put out in the world. I put out a character of kindness, care, concern, love. I treat everyone lovingly. And I'm sorry, I know I look good. I know everything about me. You can't take that away from me. Just like you can't take the love and concern I have for others. Just like you can't take away the kindness that I protrude to others. The care and concern that I push out there to the public and to people I don't know. Just like you can't take away the fact that I know I look good for my age. period. Hmm. Thought is pure energy. Every thought you have ever had, and ever will have is creative. The energy of your thought never dies, ever. It leaves your being and heads out into the universe, extending forever. A thought is forever. All thoughts congeal. All thoughts meet other thoughts. Listen to this. All thoughts meet other thoughts, crisscrossing in an incredible maze of energy, forming an ever-changing pattern of unspeakable beauty and unbelievable complexity. Like energy attracts like energy, forming clumps of energy of like kind. When enough similar clumps crisscross each other, run into each other, they stick to each other. To use another simple term, it takes incomprehensible, huge amounts of similar energy sticking together thusly to form matter. But matter will form out of pure energy. In fact, that is the only way it can form. Once energy becomes matter, it remains matter for a very long time, unless its construction is disrupted by an opposing or similar form of energy. This similar energy acting upon matter actually dismembers the matter, releasing the raw energy of which it was composed. This is, in elementary terms, the theory behind your atomic bomb. Einstein came closer than any other human before or since discovering and explaining the functionalization, the creative secret of the universe. You should now better understand how people of like mind can work together to create a favored reality. The phase, whenever two or more gather in my name, becomes more meaningful. Of course, when entire societies think a certain way, very often astonishing things happen. Not all of them desirable. For instance, a society living in fear very often actually inevitably produces in form that which it fears most. Similarity, large communities or congregations often find miracle producing power in combined thinking of what some people call common prayer. And it must be made clear that even individuals, if their thought, prayer, hope, wish, dream, fear is amazingly strong, can and in of themselves produce results. Jesus did this regularly. He understood how to manipulate energy and matter, how to rearrange it, how to redistribute it, how to ultimately control it. Many masters have known this. Many know it now. I'm going to stop here. You know, the other day I work at a hotel which is near a beach, which says nothing because every hotel is near a beach. And my boss wasn't in. This was it this? Oh, yes, it was this past Sunday. And so we had the quietest of time. We'd been quiet for about 2 hours. It was around 1:30ish, 2ish. So I went out on a beach, which is the hotel and the beach are like one and the same. I went out on a beach and I sat down, took my break, sat down, and I saw the water moving. And it's really weird how God is. It wasn't coming to me. It was strong, but it wasn't coming to me. And so I sat there and I told God, I said, I'm going to command the water to me. And so I sat there and I put my hands down because I didn't want people to see what I was really doing. Put my hands down and opened my palm. And commanded the sea to come toward me. And it ignored me. And I said, come toward me. And the sea ignored me. And I said, come toward me. And I closed my eyes and I waited before I opened my eyes again. And when I opened my eyes, the sea ignored me. And I heard God say, you're not God, meaning that is not the command I want you to have over the universe. And I was like, well, I just figured I'd try, water element. God was like, yeah, do something else, not this. So Black Coffee No Cream says an 8th grade teacher tried to kick me out of graduation because I told her I knew I was smart. You have every right to say that to a teacher. She tried to break my soul at 13 years old. My parents were not having it. I love that. I love that your parents protected you. And I'm hoping from that point on, you understood that you were everything and that you're the creator of everything. And I'm glad that teacher didn't get to break your soul. All right, guys, I am out of here. I am pooped out. I do have openings for readings today. So if anyone wants a reading with me, you know what to do. Text me now at 213-458-7408. I have openings. And so if you like this series, please press the like button. It not only helps me, but it helps anyone who have similar series of spirituality. So thanks for putting up with me. Also, I just want to say something to Donella Frazier, who I actually should have said this in the beginning, but maybe I'll just do a whole video on her. The federal government just handed out a report on, is it Missouri PD, where George Floyd passed away? Was it Missouri or Minneapolis? I get confused now. In any case, it's a scathing report. And once again, the forgotten hero is Donella Frazier. She's amazing. Her steady hand to catch the death of George Floyd must be debilitating. And yet, without her, so many changes would not be occurring right now today. She's amazing. Make sure you guys reach out to her. Send her a cash gift just to say thank you. Contact her, and on her post, just say, I think you're amazing. Thank you for changing the world. All right, guys, I love you. Call me for your own personal reading. And we will talk next week. Love you. Bye.
Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.